Hello, everyone. My name is Alicia, and welcome to another episode of Pink Lemonade. This is my wonderful panel.
Hi, I'm Diamond.
Hi, I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Austin.
And ladies, it's time to drink pink. Now, today we're going to talk about a lot of controversial topics going on in public. For the past few months, we've been talking about breastfeeding in public. We've seen a lot of experiments go on where I think me and Austin were talking about this, where the man had the fake breast and he would try to breastfeed the baby in public.
Yeah.
And then like there will be a woman with cleavage, very low cleavage, and then next to her will be a breastfeeding mother.
Yeah.
And they would get totally different reactions out of that. So what do y'all think
Right.
about breastfeeding in public in general?
Well, for that specific video, men would walk up and say, you know, to the woman who's breastfeeding, like, that's so offensive. And, like, people would get really upset. You could see a bunch of people, just random people coming up saying, like, that's so offensive, that's gross, that's unnatural, you shouldn't be doing that, go get a room, do that at home. And then, so the man who was doing the social experiment would walk up and be like, hey, I'm just curious, why do you think this is more offensive than that woman? They're showing the exact same amount of breast. The woman with the really low-cut V-neck was even showing a little bit more. And so, like, they were asking why you think that's offensive. And they couldn't really give an answer, honestly. Everyone's answer just kind of like they were fumbling around. They couldn't really give an answer to why. I think it's because they know it's a natural thing. They're just, for some reason, really struck by the fact of, you know, a woman who's got a low V-neck shirt, that's attractive, but a woman who's breastfeeding, you know, she's not attractive because she's a breastfeeding mother.
I actually remember that video, and I remember one man, they actually asked him, what's wrong with that? They're like, not wrong with that. And he was like, that is sexy. That's just nasty. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
I was just taken
It's
aback.
a natural thing.
What I don't understand is there's so many health benefits for breastfeeding, and these men who are saying it's unnatural, it's disgusting. Your parents breastfed you. You know, you were most probably breastfed, and it's like, don't tell me it's unnatural and disgusting, and you're coming to suck my titties at night. No offense. It's like it's you know, this one is more beneficial for the kid.
Right.
That if you want your child to grow and have all its functioning properly, that's the most beneficial kind of you know, what word am I looking for? It's the most beneficial source of
Method, yeah.
Nourishment.
nourishment that they're gonna get.
Right.
So I'll rather breastfeed my child instead of give him something that you just make in the microwave.
Right.
And if I have to do it in public, so be it. My child is hungry.
Yeah, I mean, it's unrealistic to expect a mother to go home every time her kid is hungry. I mean, babies eat how many times a day? Like, so
How many
often.
times do we eat?
Think about how much they eat. They're going so much more than us. But, like, you can't just go home and, like, breastfeed. Like, my church has a specific room for, like, breastfeeding mothers that has one of those windows that you can, like, still see out but no one can see in. And that's, like, nice, but you're not going to find that anywhere.
Right.
I think they have those, don't they have pods or something? Somewhere in Europe, in airports or train stations or something that women can go into and breastfeed. It's literally a pod, probably like smaller than our set. It's really, really tiny, and there are no windows. It's like one sliding door, and only one woman can go in at a time.
Wow.
It's like a chair too. You just sit in the chair and you breastfeed, and then you leave. And it's, I don't know. That's like, to me, it's so offensive.
You know,
like, we shouldn't have to hide it. It's natural.
And we even have a place like that on campus. On HSS,
really?
there's it says lactation room.
It
And
does,
if you've ever gone in, it's the most depressing room ever. No windows. It's just,
never
it's a
even
white
tried.
room with a chair.
I didn't know.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there is one. So, y'all were mentioning the experiment, and it made me think about PDA. Like, do people react to PDA the same way they react to, like, breastfeeding, you know, your child? Is that maybe where the, I guess, disgust with that act, like, stem
Like,
from?
if it's too intimate.
Yeah, the too much you're showing. TMI
I don't
almost.
think so. I think what shocks me too with that is the amount of women that also feel like women shouldn't breastfeed. And I think that where it comes from, where all of this is coming from, is that women are taught from a very young age that we're supposed to cover up everything, and that our bodies are something that, like, nobody else should see ever. And I think, but that when they say that, they're meaning it from a sexual standpoint. And so I think it's them projecting, once again, like, sexual things on non-sexual instances. Like, so you're saying, like, no, I don't want to see anyone sucking on your boob. It's like, but he's not sucking on, I mean, yes, he's sucking on it, but he's also eating.
Yeah, he's
like,
eating. It's this way of eating rather than, you know, the unhealthy formulas that you were talking about, Diamond. Those are not the best. The best way for a woman to feed her child is to breastfeed. And I mean, I know a lot of women that will put like a blanket over their baby, you know, and they'll breastfeed in public that way. I've seen people get angry about that. Like, you don't see anything.
You don't
Like,
see
it's
anything.
completely covered up. And I've also been around moms who have just, you know, breastfed in public, and it's not an issue. Like, it doesn't bother me whatsoever. It happens. It's natural. I don't understand why it's such a uproar.
You know, I hate how some people try to, like, I guess try to make it seem like they're just looking out for the interests of other people when they say it. So they'll say something like, but there's kids around. And it's like, okay,
Well,
a couple
kids
of
were
years ago,
breastfed
they were
too.
just doing this. Like, they should see this. This is a part of life. It's not like I'm making a baby in front of them.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
just feeding one. So
And there's
Right.
a lot of women nowadays who go around, walk around, you know, showing so much cleavage and so much body, and we don't go around saying, but there's kids around. You
Yeah.
know, there's women who wear these see-through tops and you can see everything, but we don't go around saying there's kids around. So women who are breastfeeding their kids, that's not harming anybody because that's natural. These kids probably remember that they were breastfed not so long ago. So they don't, in their head, they're not going to think, oh yeah, that's sexual. No, they're just going to be like, oh, mommy does this at home.
Yeah.
yeah, like he's
Yeah.
eating. My little
He's
brother's
eating.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly how I feel about it. And just to note, the federal law does state that we are legally allowed to nurture children in public, regardless of where you are. And it doesn't even say that you have to cover up the child. So I'm just saying. Another federal law.
the boobies.
Legally. So that can be your next argument. Not only is it like natural and the best way for your child to get fed, but legally I'm allowed to do this.
So from every standpoint, it's beneficial.
Right.
I mean,
Every
it's
standpoint.
legal. It's the best biological. I mean, it shouldn't be
hey, just get
offensive.
over it, you know?
In Europe, is it a little less controversial, would you say? Or is it just as controversial? Because, I mean, we always have the stereotype over here that Europeans are more free, more accepting. Is that
No, we are way more conservative than you guys.
Really?
We are very, like, I've even realized it when I'm around Americans. You guys are a bit flamboyant. Like, I'm very reserved. Like, I used to think I was liberal and out there, and I came to America, and I'm like, no, I'm actually very reserved. So we're a bit more reserved, and I don't know. We don't like. It's not like a topic that comes up a lot, but just judging from the way we are, because I know my auntie who breastfeeds, she has to leave the room to go to another room to breastfeed her kids if she's at home and she has people around, so we're kind of a bit more reserved. But most of the topics usually just come from America. So
Gotcha. Well, another federal law we do have the right to exercise is the right to protest. And I feel like almost every Friday there's a protest on UT's campus, down Pedro Walkway, down the walking bridge. And yesterday there was a family of protesters outside. That means mother, father,
Little
and child.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the day, about 12 to 4, I think Jasmine was saying, and they are protesting just, I guess, sin in general. They're a Christian
Yeah.
family, and they're protesting
Christian
sin
news
and
loosely
yeah,
there.
Christian.
That's how they associated themselves, as a lot of the protesters were saying, and as I would agree with. I would not call them Christians.
Yeah.
Simply for the fact of thou shalt not judge, and they were judging. So basically, I mean, I saw their sign at first. I saw they had two different sides, and I didn't understand why there was a big crowd until I got closer. Because the first sign says, it was like something about, you know, if you're not saved through Jesus, you're not saved. And so I was like, oh, okay, why is this drawing a crowd? And then he flipped his sign around and it said, homos are full of demons. And I was like, okay,
Oh.
that's why.
That's why, yeah.
And then as I got closer, I saw the, I can't remember, what did you say the front
On
of
the
their
front
shirt
of the
said?
shirts, it was like, proud to be an infidel. I was like, oh my God, okay. And then on their, like, around the neck, it had a dotted line, and it was like cut here. And I was just like, whoa, like, it's a pretty bold
Okay, explain that to
statement.
us. What does
Okay.
infidel?
An infidel just means non-believer. I'm pretty sure. Like, it's just anyone who doesn't believe in God. So technically, he's, I guess, not an infidel. But
He's not a non-believer.
yeah.
He
And then
believes.
like the whole dotted line thing is just because, I guess, in some Islamic countries, they have been known in the past to like behead people for various reasons. And so I think that they were just kind of going for that. I don't know. It was
Well, the
really
back of their
inappropriate.
shirts said, what was it? Islam is fake. which
find
I don't
that
know how you
very
say it.
I find that very offensive. I
Yes.
don't know. I don't believe in attacking other people's religion or other people's
And-
faith. The same way I believe in my religion, the same way I believe in God, the same way I believe in whatever I believe in. I'm not going to go to somebody and be like, oh, your religion is fake. Like, that's not for me to judge you or say anything, because I know I have Muslim friends who, they're very into their religion, they're very into their relationship with their God, and they teach me a lot about what it means to be a human being and, what it means to be a good person. So it's not my place to come and be like, okay, because I'm a Christian and because my religion is the dominant religion, it means your religion is not. Like, who am I to call people out on that?
Right. And I think it's one thing if we have had people that just stand there with their signs and they don't really say anything, but these protesters were getting in people's faces. And so the reaction was other people were getting in their faces. I mean, I walked by at one point when I was standing there just kind of observing what was going on, and there was a guy who was yelling at them, saying that, how can you say I'm not Christian just because I'm gay? I'm just as much a Christian as you are. And the woman was yelling back, no, you're not. Like, you're full of demons. You're from hell. Like, that's where you're going to end up. Like, burn in hell. Things like that. And I was so angry about that. I, of course, did not get involved whatsoever. There were police there, too. I mean, basically telling people, calm down or we're going to kick you off campus. Because protesters are allowed on campus. It's public property. But they cannot be disturbing the peace. That's when they're kicked off. But I just feel like there's one way to get your opinion out there, but if you're being violent with it, I mean, I disagreed completely with their opinions. I think they were incredibly offensive. I think they were ignorant, uneducated. I could go on with the insults about them, but I mean, I'm not going to because that would be stooping down to their level.
Right.
But I just think that they were mostly trying to get a reaction out of people,
Oh,
is what I think.
definitely,
I think they
because-
came to get yelled at.
Because there was an instance, and it was towards the end, so I don't know if you saw it or not, but he ripped up the Quran in front of a bunch of Muslim kids, spit on it, and then stepped on it on the ground. And he was standing, I'm sure you saw him standing on the flag, the LGBTQ flag.
Yes, I did.
But the Quran thing was really what got a rise, and that's when people were like, oh no, we're about to fight, and it was just
Yeah.
I saw
tense.
some really violent pictures too. I mean, the Daily Beacon, our newspaper, wrote several articles about it, talking to different students who were there. One girl walked by and she was stopping for a minute to see what was going on, and she had a rainbow colored lanyard. And the guy yelled at her that she was going to hell because of her lanyard. And she's like, I'm not even gay. I have a rainbow lanyard. That's not, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I just think that also, me as a Christian, that really hurts me because people of other religions, that a lot of times is the only thing that they see out of Christians. They see the judgment, they see the hatred, they see the ignorance, and they think that that's what all Christians are. And I'm like, no, we're loving, we're accepting. A lot of us, I love to get to know other religions and how we're similar and how we're different. And I'm never going to tell someone, you're not a Christian because you're gay. Because I don't believe that personally.
And it's one thing to get it from the outside, but then to come to your own school. Rocky Top's supposed to be home sweet home to us. That's what the song says.
Right.
That's what we preach. And so for them to come on our home territory, on our home front, and to display that hatred and just spit out hatred all through our day, especially when we're going to class, we're stressed. We just got out the library. People are just now getting out the library from last night. Going to tests, doing other things. That's really hits home. And I feel like Muslims are, especially in America in general, are just really shunned away already.
They're definitely being very persecuted, very judged
Especially in
right now.
Tennessee.
And as well as the
Especially
LGBTQ community.
Tennessee's had a lot of stuff. I read an article recently that was talking about how a couple years ago, Muslims were actually able to live in Tennessee peacefully, had nice lives, nice stores. But in the past year, there's been Muslim attacks. There was a mosque that was burned down in Nashville in the past year, I think, and just other attacks on them that have happened. And I think a lot of it has to do with what's just going on in the media now, and people are thinking that oh, this is okay.
Well, they associate, here, I'll use personal testimony here about something that happened to me and my aunt's husband recently. So my grandfather just passed away, and he had this beautiful picture of this mosque because he was in Saudi Arabia. My mom was actually born in Saudi Arabia, even though
Awesome.
both of her parents are American. My aunt was born in Amman, Jordan. And so they have a lot of Arabic things, beautiful rugs and things like that. And I've always loved that picture, so I wanted the picture. So out of the storage unit, I had it set aside. My uncle walks up and said, "Who's taking the ISIS picture?"
Oh my god.
And I was like, excuse me, this is a beautiful depiction of a Muslim mosque that has to do with the religion of Islam and the Muslim people. It has nothing to do with ISIS. Stop grouping an entire religion with a small set of radicals. Let me tell you, there are Christians that have killed people. There are Buddhists. There are Hindus. Every single religion has had a radical group in history that has
gone out and done terrible things.
And you know, in the name of their religion. And that, I think, is the problem. Right. I think that's the problem right now is, you know, ISIS is claiming to be Islamic, and they're getting all of their reasons for their attacks from the religion of Islam. And so people are grouping an entire religion with that one radical group. I mean, for example, you heard all about the Paris attacks. You heard all about the Belgium attacks. But there have been several attacks lately in Muslim countries, and they're not on the news because it's Muslims attacking Muslims, and so people don't think that is newsworthy, which angers me to my very core. I mean, my
people
uncle, I
forget
got
that
up
the
in
Ku
his
Klux
face,
Klan
like,
was
it's just
based
horrible.
on Christian values, and that was something that plagued an entire race of people.
Right. I just hate that. I hate that too because going back to that story, my uncle claims that he's a Christian and he thinks he's better. He thinks he's more superior because he's a Christian and blah, blah, blah.
And that's not even like the premise of Christianity. You're not even supposed to have an air about you. It's all about Jesus.
It's all about being humble. You're saved through Jesus. You should not judge others. You should be accepting. You should love other people. And so that's why I've always wanted to surround myself with people of every religion, people of every culture, to learn from them. And I just wish that more Christians were like that. They weren't like my uncle. They weren't like the people on pedestrian walkway, you know, shouting hatred towards other people. I mean, so many people would be more amiable to us in our religion if they saw how a lot of us are, but they don't see the good ones of us who are doing great things for other people, who would be loving, who have tons of gay friends, you know, who have friends from other cultures, who have Muslim friends and are completely accepting of them. All they see is those people on pedestrian walkway shouting hatred at them, the people that wear those giant signs attached to their back that says you'll burn in hell. I mean, what are they expecting
What I
to
think
get
is
from
really
that?
unfortunate is, and this goes along the lines of people saying that there is no discrimination or that it's being bred out of us slowly but surely, but they had a child out there, and which means that they're instilling the same values that they have into their kid. They're instilling discrimination into their kid, and they're not the only people who are doing that in general for all things. You know, other people are doing this. It's not something that's just going away.
I definitely don't think so. And like, for my family, for my aunt and her husband and their kids, like, I pray that they do not become like him. Like, I pray every single day that they don't become like him because they're such great kids, and that's all they see is my aunt's husband. I don't call him uncle just because
That man.
just make me so angry. My aunt's husband. So
I wonder how you kept on calling him that. Okay.
yeah, that's why I can't accept those views, and I had to tweet out an angry thing too, and I was being silly. I was like, I can't be family member to someone who's so ignorant and racist just because I hate that, which is probably not the best. I should just, you know, be accepting of him too, even though he is hating. It's just hard. I just hope that he doesn't pass that on to my cousins, you know, the way that those people on pedestrian walkway are passing it on to their kids, and other people who are racist are passing it on to their children.
So to all
It's a vicious cycle.
Christians and the abortion
Extremists. people
extremists,
all out there.
that's a
Those
whole
are-
different show
Yeah.
for today, but it is a right. So it can have its pros and its cons, just like a lot of other things. But that's it for us on Pink Lemonade, and we bring you the news with no tea, no shade, but a whole lot of pink lemonade. See you later, guys. Bye.